and welcome to the session where we are going to talk about humanizing your pipeline. Now, really quickly, before I get started, I do want to introduce myself. My name is Katie Penner, and I am an expert at utilizing gifting in business. I help companies break through the digital noise so that they can form real and authentic connections with buyers and customers. And the reason that this is so important in today's world is that with AI messaging and automation, it's more important than ever to make buyers and customers feel seen and to make them feel cared for. Now, a little bit about my history at Sendoso. I actually started at Sendoso in 2021 as an SDR and fell in love with the world of gifting. And so I quickly, kind of progressed through the ranks of sales development, sales, marketing, and I am now the head of Sender Relations at Sendoso, where a huge part of my job is helping our customers understand the best ways and approaches of utilizing gifting. So, really excited to be here today and to share that knowledge with you all. Now, quick plug moment. Sendoso is the leading direct mail platform. Our AI enhanced gifting automation platform is data backed by hundreds of thousands of users and tens of millions of gifts sent. And sending the perfect gift just got a whole lot easier with the introduction of Smart Send, the single best gift recommendation engine that exists in the world today. Now, SmartSend makes it easier than ever to personalize the gifts you offer and that you send at scale. It'll make it easier to write creative notes. It'll make it easier to generate pipeline, book meetings, create human connection, and drive engagement. Now, a little bit about me personally. I currently live in Houston, Texas, with a pit bull rescue named Bones, and my two kids, Riley, who is 8, and my son Archie, who is 1.5. And random fact, Archie does stay home with me all day, every day. Thankfully, he's taking a nap right now, but if you hear him in the background at some point, that you know why. Now, moving on into the good stuff. I hear from buyers every single day that they are experiencing buyer fatigue. And in fact, I felt it myself. I'm sure a ton of you watching have felt it. Buyers are constantly bombarded with over 100 emails, tons of calls, countless DMs, all while being in back to back meetings daily. And as a buyer, I can tell you that a lot of these messages are automated. And today we're dealing with, chat GPT generated messages that feel super generic and unauthentic. So, what does it actually take to get noticed in today's environment? Now, I'm sure we've all heard it before, but it's true. People buy from people. And building better relationships with your buyers is going to increase engagement and drive results with prospects and customers throughout the buyer's journey. However, of course, this is easier said than done. So let's dive into the data. Then I'll show you how you can achieve these genuine human connections. Now, personalization is key to standing out today. A study from Gartner reported on the percentage of customers that expect companies to be well informed about their personalized information during an interaction. Now, this number was 71% for B2C and 86% for B2B. So customers don't just want personalization, they're demanding it. And while technology plays a significant role in modern sales, it should never overshadow the human element. So, of course, using tools like CRM systems, automation, and AI to streamline processes, gather insights, and in some cases, personalize communication is necessary. However, it's important to always remember to infuse a personal touch into your interactions, to balance that efficiency with authentic human connections to create a more seamless and memorable experience for your prospects, clients, and customers. Personalization also influences buyer behavior, right? Marketing leaders cite driving buyer engagement, completed purchases, brand loyalty, and deepening relationships as the top reasons for pursuing personalization. Now, you may be wondering, does personalization actually have a significant impact? Is it worth the effort? And a study by McKinsey found that companies that excel at personalization generate 40% more from those activities than average players. So let's hop into some examples of customers or companies, sorry, that are just nailing personalized gifting that drives impact. So Chewy.com is the number one visited pet food and supply site over Petco and PetSmart because of their customer centric approach. At the end of 2022, Chewy had over 20.5 million active customers. And sure, they offer some pretty amazing things for their customers, right? There's 24/7 support, satisfaction guarantees. But what really sets them apart is that during 2022, they sent enough birthday cards to stretch all the way from New York City to Dallas. But the gifting that Chewy does when their customers' pets cross the Rainbow Bridge is what really stands out to me. Chewy sends things like sympathy bouquets and remembrance pet portraits. They will refund unfinished bags of food and tell customers that they can donate that food to their local animal shelter in their pet's honor. Now, this level of empathy combined with thoughtful gifts builds customers for life. And customers who are emotionally connected with a brand have a 306% higher lifetime value. And they actually recommend brands at a much higher rate, 71% versus 45%. Empathy is where it all begins when it comes to humanizing sales. I mean, think about it, right? If you want to really connect with your prospects and customers, you're going to have to put yourself in their shoes. You need to understand their needs and feel what they are going through. It's all about active listening, asking thoughtful questions, and genuinely showing interest in their stories. By doing this, you'll build trust, create that rapport, and set the stage for a super successful sales journey. Now, as the COVID-19 pandemic hit, the Zendesk marketing team needed a really unique campaign to accelerate deals and engage prospects stuck at home. So they browsed the Sendoso catalog and decided on this at home movie kit, complete with popcorn, snacks, a movie trivia game, and a movie themed cookbook. The team also decided to include a Zendesk branded blanket. Now, the team worked with account executives to identify top contacts already in conversation with sales. And the goal was to accelerate these open deals by creating this really memorable and delightful brand experience that made Zendesk stand out from their competitors. And their team was thrilled with the results. They delighted hundreds of prospects with movie kits. The campaign achieved a 15x ROI, as well as a 2,000% quarter over quarter increase in new business pipeline generation attributed to direct mail. Now, there are endless possibilities for leveraging gifting to build human connections, incentivizing customers for successful referrals, showing gratitude to loyal customers by sending gifts for special occasions, running social media contests for brand visibility, encouraging customers to participate in surveys by offering small gifts as incentives, and sending gifts to customers who had a negative experience as an apology, are just a few examples of this. Now, let's look at how to put this into practice and what messaging we use to avoid bribery. The first step of successful gifting is to truly take the time to understand your audience. Now, a little backstory. As an SDR, I was unhappy with our sequenced messaging. We were sitting at a 2 to 3% top line reply rate. So, I pitched my director of sales development, I pitched our CRO on why I was the person to come in and revamp the sequencing. And this was kind of how we broke down our audience. And at the end of the day, we ended up getting to an 18 to 26% top line reply rate. So segmentation is incredibly important. And here's how we did that. I started with ATL BTL segmentation. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this, it is a Skip Miller concept. And above the line buyers, your ATL, are your check signers. In B2B, this is typically going to be VP and up personas. Now, VPs and up are typically more interested in the financial return of their investments, and they're not so interested in the features and benefits because typically they won't actually be a user buyer. So, in ATL messaging, it's important to focus on ROI language and case studies. Whereas with below the line buyers, your BTL audience, typically director and below for B2B, it's very important to focus on those features and benefits and how you're going to make their lives, their team's lives easier on a daily basis. We also look at purchase stage with tools like Sixth Sense. I would group those in consideration and awareness, aka those with lower intense scores, and those in purchase and decision, higher intent scores together. And for those in consideration or awareness with those lower scores, I needed to do a good job of simply educating them about what my product even did and why it was relevant to them. Whereas for those in purchase and decision with these higher scores, they were actively looking into my company. So I could assume that they were also looking into my competitors. So here I needed to do a really good job of differentiation and setting us apart. Now, in addition to that, we segmented by persona. But for some companies, it makes more sense to segment by industry, whatever makes sense for you and your company. This way, you can bring in their job responsibilities or their industry information and how your product can help them achieve their specific goals. Now, when we move to this approach, of course, as I mentioned, from generalized sequencing, our reply rates skyrocketed. Relevance is definitely key. Now, when you're gifting, how do you figure out what to send someone? Well, for B2C, like we discussed earlier, the gifts may be triggered by some sort of event, a referral, a complaint, the passing of a family member, a birthday, right? That can be kind of streamlined. But when we look at B2B gifting, how are we finding what a VP of sales, a director of marketing, et cetera, are into? And how do we figure out their personal hobbies? Now, LinkedIn is full of treasure. It's great to start there and explore recent posts and interactions to look for mutual contacts. And sometimes, if you click on contact info, people will even link their Twitter. It's also great practice to Google your prospect or their company to find relevant interviews, podcasts, press releases, blogs, that sort of thing. Now, at Sendoso, we leverage gifting throughout the entire sales cycle and even after to surprise and delight our customers. Now, pre demo, our SDR team is sending lower value, typically around $50 or below, door opener gifts. Now, door openers include things like books that we feel would resonate with our prospects, branded bags of coffee with a branded mug, or a lunchy gift for a lunch and learn. And then post demo, our account executives go a bit higher in value for qualified opportunities. And here we send things like very hyper personalized gifts via our Amazon integration or curated gift boxes based on the prospect's interests, right? So, for example, if we know during a demo, if we find out that someone's really into golf, we'll send something like this golf box. Now, we also leverage gifting to pull in other stakeholders. Today, there's an average of 8 decision makers involved in every deal. So, sending those 8 decision makers a gift to expand that sphere of influence helps to get them involved sooner and to push that deal through the funnel faster. So, sending something like a plant and saying, hey, Joe, wanted to plant the idea of looping you into my conversation with John about how my company can help your company achieve X, Y, and Z. Now, when we're getting close to a close, we like to send a gift box with some company swag and some sort of ROI collateral that we can provide to our buyers. This helps us get through that validation phase and into the close, where we then send something like champagne or branded cupcakes to help us celebrate that new partnership. Now, as I mentioned earlier, our sequences at Sendoso average a 20 to 26% overall reply rate. This does vary by persona because we integrate gifting throughout. Now, to level set, sequence success starts with the basics. It's important to note that from the moment a prospect opens an email, they're only going to take 3 seconds to decide if they're going to read it or not. That first line in your email, that preview text, if it says something like, hope you're doing well, it's likely that it won't be read. That is prime real estate, so be sure to use it wisely to capture attention. Now, if they do decide to read your email, on average, prospects are only going to take about 11 seconds to skim it. So it's very important to have short and simplified messaging that's really easy to scan and understand with a clear call to action and lots of white space. But you may be wondering still, Katie, how do you send these gifts without it coming off as a bribe? So let's look at an example. Now, the principle of reciprocity describes the human need for give and take in a relationship. However, for the gift to have the most meaning, it needs to be offered in a way that seems genuine without expectation of return. So rather than offering a gift in exchange for someone's time and using wording like, in exchange for your time, I'd like to send you X, it's important to look at gifting as a relationship building tool that can capture attention and to separate your company's value proposition and the send offer within your email. So, an example of this is on the right side of the screen. Name, noticed company insight. X seems to be the team's focus. Do your reps ever struggle to X? Our company has helped company and company close that gap with solution. Worth a chat? P.S. Saw you were into cooking. Wanted to send over my favorite cookbook for you to enjoy. Now, this approach is authentic. Every customer is unique, and tailoring the sales experience to their individual needs is vital. Gather information about your prospects, such as their industry, interests, and pain points, to create these really personalized and relevant interactions. Of course, address them by their name, reference previous conversations, and demonstrate your understanding of their specific challenges. This personal touch demonstrates that you see them as individuals rather than just another sale. If you think back to the Chewy example, they're an online pet supply company who is gifting their customers when their pets pass away with no expectation of return. However, this thoughtful gesture will bring returning customers for life. Similarly, in B2B, we see that people are a lot more willing to reply when we show that we've done our research, not just on the company and their company's goals, but also research into them as a human being. This shows that we genuinely care about them and are way more likely to offer solutions that will actually help to make their lives easier. So, what about other channels like LinkedIn? Now, buyers are hounded with long messages, commonly referred to as pitch slaps on LinkedIn. And what we've found is that if you take a more genuine approach with a message like this, Amy, thanks for connecting. Not sure if you're attending the Supercore Expo, but if you are, I know that they can be exhausting. Either way, grab an extra coffee on me today. Typically, what we see with this approach is that our prospects are way more likely to engage and say something like, thank you, at which point we can respond with a qualifying question. Absolutely, Amy. By the way, I'm curious, how is your team solving for X? To humanize sales, shift your focus from this transactional mindset to building relationships first and foremost. Sales should be viewed as a partnership where both parties benefit. So invest time in getting to know your customers beyond their immediate purchase needs. Now, something that I hear a lot from people is that they get meetings booked, but the prospects never show. And that's rough because you've done all this work to get them engaged and then you just get ghosted. But here at Sendoso, we have a 91% meeting hold rate. How? So we actually triggered a $5 coffee e-gift that's sent to the prospect the morning of every demo that they can enjoy during our time together. Now, the email that we include details why they agreed to take a call, a proposed agenda that's catered to their needs, and all of the meeting information along with that $5 coffee e-gift for them to enjoy during our call. As a result, we have that 91% meeting hold rate, which is pretty amazing. Now, a recent branded direct mail campaign that we ran has a 25 and 26x ROI. Now, during my time as an SDR, I wanted something creative to showcase Sendoso's capabilities, but I couldn't hyper personalize everything. So I was thinking about ways that we could make something feel relevant to the time. So we decided to come up with these quarterly bundles. Now, again, these quarterly bundles were intended to be timely to the season and offer fun and useful swag to our prospects to accelerate deal cycles and to open doors. Each bundle came with tailored messaging, right? New Year health bundle, build a healthy pipeline with Sendoso this year. The tech bundle, stay connected to your target audience with Sendoso. Summer barbecue, heat up your outreach strategy. And finally, cozy winter bundle. Don't let your competition freeze you out. Warm up your leads with Sendoso. Now, you know, each of these items came with fun things. They weren't super expensive, but the messaging is almost just as important as the gifts themselves. And the rule of thumb for marketing ROI is typically a 5-to-1 ratio, with exceptional ROI being considered at around a 10-to-1 ratio. Anything below a 2-to-1 ratio is considered not profitable, as the cost to produce and distribute these goods and services often means organizations will break even. So, as you can see, the timeliness and curated items in these bundles surprised and delighted prospects and customers and generated high returns. Now, quick takeaways: buyers are demanding a more human, personalized experience. And gifting is a really great way to drive that more humanized buying experience and to retain customers. And hopefully, you walked away with some strategies for implementing this human first approach in both a B2B and a B2C environment. Now, before I leave you all, please, please, please reach out, connect with me. And then if you want to learn more about Sendoso, please scan the QR code on your screen or visit this our website. We would love to chat with you and help you with anything that you may need. But thank you all so much for your time. I appreciate it and have a great rest of your day.